Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for watching this video. This video is going to be a continuation of our 4 Realms of Gaia and Opening to Magic video series. I'm going to post a link below in the description to part 1, 2, and 3 of this video series. And if you haven't yet watched part 1, part 2, and part 3, go ahead and watch those first before watching this one, because in this video we're just going to continue on bringing forward the information that came through first in writing. And I'm not going to recap too much because there is a lot to go over, so I would just recommend watching the first 3 parts of this video series. So we're going to get right into it. So what came through, or where we left off in the last video, was talking about basically how the energies of the realms are going to be opening up onto the planet. And opening up onto the planet, it affects the energies of Gaia in so many different ways. We spoke about organizational structures shifting, opening of cellular memory, DNA. We spoke about sanctuary souls and how souls connected to the energetic realms of Gaia came incarnated onto the planet at this time to have purpose and missions in terms of helping with the shift. And so let's dive right into this next part of the 4 Realms of Gaia and Opening to Magic. So what came through was the people of Avalon opened up their deep hearts to the people of Atlantis. They showed the people of Atlantis alchemy and magic and how to work with energy in new and exciting ways. The Atlanteans were impressed with the people of Avalon and the land of Avalon, and many of the Atlanteans ended up staying there for the remainder of their existence as Atlanteans, now former Atlanteans and newcomers to Avalon. Avalon opened a portal for the Atlanteans to return to the physical earth plane if they chose to, but many did not and stayed in Avalon. In staying in Avalon, the Atlanteans joined lower vibrational physical earth energy with the higher vibrational non-physical realm earth energy. This opened a strong current of energy, which assisted in the downfall of the dimensions and energy of Gaia. So into the darkness Gaia went, and a dark cloud opened up in the realms of Gaia. The dark cloud brought with it a mask of sorts for the people of Avalon, a poison apple, if you will, and the people of Avalon, except for a select few, succumbed to the energy of the poison apple, and into darkness they went. A blindfold or a veil also opened up in Avalon, much like it opened up in the physical earth plane. But in Avalon, the veil concealed the magic that they were all used to working with. So like we spoke about in the last video, Avalon, before it fell in dimension and vibration along with the physical earth plane, there were a lot of people in Avalon who openly worked with magic, openly worked with alchemy and energy alchemy and stuff like that. They brought forward, like in connection to Merlin and a lot of Merlin type people that existed in Avalon, basically just kind of like a lot of magic happening in that realm. And so when the realms of Gaia also fell in dimension and frequency along with the physical dimension of Earth, what they're saying is that they're also opened up a veil within the realms of Gaia, so people became disconnected to their connection that they once had to this open energy of magic and those higher frequency energies as well. The next thing that came through was that it was as if the fire of the magic went out, and tapping into that magic became harder and harder until it was no longer available for the taking. Certain individuals, like Merlin, as well as others who were able to hold higher vibration despite the shift and plunge into the darkness, were able to still access the magic, but it was not easy. Much like in your physical world, where you have to attain and reach for higher vibration in order to reap the rewards of deliberate and high vibrational abundant living, much was the same in the closest 4 realms of Gaia to your physical earth plane. The people of Avalon, being the closest energetically to your physical plane, had to get to a place to raise their vibration to higher levels if they wanted to align to the energy of magic that they once so easily tapped into. But the blindfold around the people of Avalon was like a heavy weight of energy, much like the people of your physical earth who are blinded by the lower vibration playing out. It is hard to navigate lower energy. So for most people of Avalon, they continued life in their form of being within that veil or that blindfold. And this is why in your fairy tales, you have people much like your people of earth or of your physical earth. There are peasants and kings and queens and princesses. You have struggle and you have wealth. Your fairy tales are very much based off of the energy of the realms of Gaia. The stories came from energy connected to the authors, people who have had past life connections to the realms of Gaia, and possibly people who are sanctuary souls themselves. The energy bodies or realms of Gaia is very much connected to the physical plane of Gaia. When the physical plane of Gaia flourishes, so does the energetic realms of Gaia, and vice versa. You are tethered together, you feed off of each other, and are connected in more ways than you can imagine. Certain individuals in the realms, such as King Arthur, Merlin, and central fairy tale characters, were able to raise their vibration and align to the energetic place in where they could tap into this greater realm of magic. With the downfall of the dimensions and into darkness of the veils within both the non-physical realms of Gaia as well as the physical plane of Gaia, the layers between each of the realms also became more and more distant. Before, the first 4 realms of Gaia coexisted together within one larger realm that encompassed the vibrational frequency of the first 4 realms of Gaia. But with the lowering of dimensions and energy, the first 4 realms of Gaia became more of a split, and it was not as easy for the first 4 realms to coexist together. Certain individuals within the realms, such as Merlin, for example, were able to bridge the gap in vibrational frequency, meaning that they were able to raise their vibration and tap into all of the 4 or the first 4 realms of Gaia, including the realm of magic, and were able to hold the vibrational space of the first 4 realms or of the first however many realms that they were able to tap into within their individual existence. So this is about individuals within the realms who were able to raise their vibration to be able to tap into more than one of those realms and not fall so far deep into that veil or the blindfold that opened up into the realms as that dimension and as the frequencies lowered following the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria. What came through next is that as a collective, in the first realm of Gaia, most of the people of the first realm fell within the veil and was only able to coexist with others within the first realm of Gaia. They had lost their connection to the other 3 realms, including the second realm, which is the realm of magic. I asked, you spoke about King Arthur, Merlin, and other fairy tale characters. Does this mean that those fairy tales are real? And what came through was, your fairy tales are simply part of someone's living library, meaning their individual or collective akashic records or akashic library. Fairy tales and stories and written books and theater and screenplays and movies are all physically manifested from the mind of someone or someones in co-creation. But the mind of that someone or someones are connected to their living library or the collective consciousness's living library. The thoughts and ideas that you have are pulled from the living library of your soul memory or from the greater collective soul memory. Your thoughts and ideas do not come out of thin air, but rather they align to the frequency wave that you exist within, meaning that within the frequency wave that you exist within, based upon your individual vibration, the thoughts and ideas, most times what you would call hidden in your soul memory or your living akashic library or your collective's akashic library, will align themselves with you based upon your intention of receiving them. So, for example, sometimes great authors make strong intentions for an idea for a book. And that idea will either come from their own individual soul memory or living library, or the collective soul memory or living library, or even a greater akashic living library, maybe of the universe. It depends on the strength of the individual's intention. The idea or thought that opens for the individual will align with the intention of the individual to receive that idea or thought. So, for example, if the author is desiring an idea for a life-changing book idea, that life-changing book idea in the greater soul memory or collective soul memory / living akashic library will present itself to the individual to hook onto or not. Many ideas will come out of the woodwork surrounding and aligning to that individual's intended desire of an idea. It is up to the individual to hook onto the thought or idea that they most resonate with and want to move forward with. So in this way, I guess you can say that your ideas and thoughts do come out of thin air, but they originate or stem from a very solidified place within your greater individual or collective consciousness, memory, and or stored akashic living library. This goes back to the saying that goes, everything you can imagine is real, whether in lifetimes and memories past, present, future, and beyond. Everything that you imagine as an individual and a collective comes from a place that already exists within your living library, either your own individual living library or the collective's living library. All thoughts and ideas open in non-physical form first, as energy of that, what you would call book within your library, answering the call of your thought intention. In your ability to be a deliberate creator, you would vibrationally align to receiving the energy of those thoughts presenting themselves to you. And as a deliberate creator, you would recognize the energy of those thoughts and ideas presenting themselves to you because you would be in a vibrational place to recognize them. This is alignment at its finest. Then, as a deliberate creator, you would hook onto those thoughts and ideas and continue to ride that energy wave until it is manifested in time in the physical. So in short, yes, your fairy tales are real in one way or another. It's possible that some have been distorted in your retrieval of that knowledge process, but of course, your perception is always truth. So before I move forward, I want to speak more about what I just spoke about in terms of those thought intentions and then receiving in alignment with something that already exists within our individual living library or our soul memory or the collective living library or even something higher. So this is kind of what was shown to me in terms of retrieving that information, or whenever we have a thought or we have an intention to receive a thought or an idea, and how we kind of hook on to what's presenting itself to us in terms of our vibrational alignment. So here, for example, we have person A, B, C, and D. So whenever someone makes an intention to receive a thought or an idea, for example, they brought through an author who is looking for an idea for a book. Maybe they want to create a life-changing book. So they're trying to figure out, what should my book be about? And so they are creating a thought intention. They are creating an intention to receive information or receive a thought or an idea. So, for example, maybe person A is this author and they create this thought intention. It's kind of like what was shown to me, like Wi-Fi signal. So this person sends out a Wi-Fi signal, and what they can hook onto is going to be in alignment with wherever they are vibrationally. So in their vibration, they're able to align to something within their individual akashic living library, which is in their stored soul memory. So this is based upon their vibration. So we have here these sort of rectangle things are my version of books. So if you think of a library or your soul memory, which was described to me as kind of like an akashic library, it holds all the books of all of your past experiences, everything you've experienced on a soul level. So you have a ton of books in there. You can't even conceive how many books there are in your library. But so this person sends out a thought intention, and within their library, it pings back, like certain books are like, hey, I have an idea for your thought intention that aligns with what you're looking for. So here I have 3 of these books saying, hey, I align to what this person A is having in their thought intention, that vibration that they're putting out. So these thoughts will come to this person, and so that person will kind of make they'll have these thoughts will come into this person's awareness, and this person will hook onto one of those thoughts because they'll resonate most with one of these thought sort of feedback from their akashic living library, from their soul memory. And in this connection, the person will be able to pull this information from this book into their physical and then create the book that they're wanting to create, manifest this thought into the physical. So in terms of a person's vibration, this can be said for example, person B. Maybe person B, their thought intention holds a higher vibration or with greater energy or greater power in their intention. So maybe this person is able to reach up into the collective consciousness, or maybe their thought intention, it kind of is showing me like a boomerang. So the boomerang goes further. It goes up into the collective consciousness. It goes up into the collective akashic living library. And so this person's thought intention is a little bit greater. So the books that ping back in terms of this person's Wi-Fi signal, the books that ping back from this collective consciousness living library. So say these 2 books are recognizing this person's signal and this person is sending out a thought signal, and these books are saying, hey, I have the perfect answer to the signal that you're sending, or that thought intention. So we're going to ping back to you. And so this person will establish a connection up here with one of these thought forms that want to manifest itself through this physical person. And then we have person C and person D, who their vibration is maybe able to reach up into an even higher place, or an even higher living library, possibly in this example, the universal akashic living library, which is held in the central sun. So this will open up even greater ideas, even greater thought forms, experiences, books. So if their intention or their thought intention is great enough, these books will call back to them and say, hey, we have a thought form or an idea that is perfectly aligned with what you are desiring in your thought intention. Now, that kind of goes over the basics of how a person can hook onto these different thought forms that comes from these different areas of different living libraries, whether it's your individual living library, the collective, or the universal living library. And now we're kind of going to go into furthermore into that vibration of receiving that thought form. So here, for example, we have person C and person D. Say these two people have a very similar thought intention and a very similar vibration. Both of them send out a very similar thought intention, and so similar books in this universal library pings back to both of these people, and say both of these people align to just this one single book, and or resonate with the information or the thought form or idea from this one single experience or book or whatever in this library. So they're both going to hook onto it now and bring that thought or bring that idea into their physical to manifest. Now, say person C is able to sort of raise their vibration or meet this idea or thought in a little bit higher of a place. So you see this line that connects the person to the thought form or the idea within the library. I have this black circle here, which is a little bit higher than person D and their black circle. So the black circle is kind of like the meeting point between the idea, the thought form that stems from this Akashic Living Library, and the person's physical vibration or physical, I guess I want to say mind space or whatever. So the point in where they meet is a little bit more of higher vibration or closer to the actual thought starting point, if you want to think of it that way. And so it's like that thought form has to lower itself a little bit for the person to be able to receive it if needed. I'm sure the person can actually raise high enough to receive the thought form from the starting place. But it was described to me that, of course, there's a scale here within this connection. So the person D maybe cannot reach up as high, so the thought form will reach further down for the person to be able to receive it into their conscious mind and then physically manifest it. But because person C and person D are receiving the information from two different places within this scale of this hooking onto that greater thought form, they're going to interpret the information into their physical mind from these two different places. So person C and person D may be hooking onto the same thought form, but they're interpreting it or retrieving that knowledge, that thought form, that information contained within this book from these two different vibrational places. So how person C and person D is going to interpret the information is going to be possibly completely different, but similar along the same lines, because they're going to be interpreting the same thought or idea, but from two different vibrational places. And then the same can be said for anyone else tapping into the collective consciousness, akashic living library, or that individual soul memory living library, if that makes sense. Okay, so moving forward with what came through, I just wanted to kind of dive a little bit further into that thought and ideas, non-physical form, in pulling it into the physical, into our conscious minds, in order for us to physically manifest those thoughts and those forms, because I thought that was interesting. And now we'll continue with what came through in terms of the 4 realms of Gaia. But basically they're saying, everything that people, specifically speaking about these fairy tales that are coming through in these 4 realms of Gaia and Opening to Magic video series, is that those ideas for fairy tales and the idea of Merlin and magic, it was first a thought form for an author to write about and have that come into our collective consciousness, or whatever comes through in movies and stuff like that. So first it starts in that thought form space, and whoever is writing about it, or whoever is pulling that in, is not just pulling it out of thin air. They are grabbing hold of it from this higher space that exists within this library, these thought forms that are connected to books and experiences within these greater akashic libraries of soul memories. So my next question was, what next? And what came through is, what's next is definitely a story about Merlin. And then what came through is that the energy of Merlin was stepping through. And when I saw him in my mind's eye, it was kind of like he came through like Cinderella-esque, with this twinkling energy surrounding him. And so kind of like fairy godmother-like. And he even entered saying, bibbidi bobbidi boo. And I thought that was funny. Anyway, what came through is, he said, I am Merlin, master of alchemy and maker of magic. I am here to decorate your minds with magic. I am here to open your childlike. I am here to open a portal between your physical world and Gaia's realm of magic and realm of fine things. So those are the first 2 realms of Gaia. He continues to say, in opening the portal, the energy of the realms will spill onto your physical plane and into your collective consciousness. Lost knowledge of magic will begin opening for many of you who connect strongly to the realms of Gaia, or who connect to the earth as sanctuary souls. Your inner lost magic will be restored and instantly reunited with you. In your physical plane, magic of the realms work a bit differently. Energy of the realms bring retrieval of memory for many Atlanteans and people of Avalon and other inhabitants of the realms. Avalon is strong within many of you because Avalon exists closest to the physical energy plane of Gaia. The people of Avalon easily incarnated into the physical plane of Gaia during this incarnation in order to help with the shift. As a collective, the realms of Gaia offered to send souls to the physical plane to incarnate during this time to help in the physical plane during this shift. These would be the sanctuary souls, and these sanctuary souls would have a mission of holding down or anchoring the energy of the realms from this side, the physical side of the veil. These sanctuary souls would anchor the energy of the realms in the physical, holding the door open, so to speak, so that the energy of the non-physical realms could open into the physical when the time was right. The time has come for the energy of the realms to open onto your physical plane, and the time has come for the sanctuary souls and others who connect strongly to the realms of Gaia to remember who you truly are and open a portal between you and the open energy of the realms of Gaia. In knowing who you truly are, you open energy of the realms to flow through you. You are the doorway the portal that bridges the physical plane of Gaia with the non-physical realms of Gaia. We spoke earlier that Avalon is the gateway for all the other realms. In truth, you are the gateway for all the other realms to flow onto the physical planet. I asked, why does the energy of the realms need to flow onto the physical planet? And what came through is, this is the role that the realms are playing in Gaia's ascension, as well as your collective's ascension, as well as the ascension of the realms. You are all connected. Your physical collective is unable to help Gaia in the massive energy that is needed for this shift from that ground level, from your physical level. There is much help above the ground in your skies, in the non-physical, but much energy is needed in the physical on the ground level. Your collective's energy has come a long way, but is still nowhere near where it needs to be to physically birth the new Earth 5D. So, the realms of Gaia put in place a plan to help from the ground level as well, or rather to boost the ground level energy. The energy of the realms of Gaia, being very connected to the physical energy of Gaia, put a plan in place to open onto the physical plane and help shift the energy of your collective consciousness so that you, as people of the physical plane, could open the energy of the realms through each of your own individual energies. Again, I spoke about in past videos about how energy is more strongly opened when it's opened through a physical person, through a physical vessel, versus just energy hitting the planet to try to shift and change the overall energy. It's stronger when it's opened through a physical person, through the vessel, through that conscious mind, because then that energy enters into that collective consciousness and able to shift on that higher collective energy. So if one person is able to hold a higher vibration, raise their vibration, open up all of these stronger energies hitting the planet, if they're able to open that in their own physical, individual consciousness, knowing energy, physical body, then that one person has the strength to affect the entire collective, because that energy seeps up into or is filtered up into the collective consciousness. So the more and more people who open energy within their own individual selves and consciousness and mind, physical body, all of that is filtered up into the collective. So it's affecting the entire collective, the entire planet on a much greater, massive scale. What came through next is, this is not hard because as a collective, you already have the energy of the realms within your collective consciousness throughout your history. This is in the forms of fairy tales, stories, books, screenplays, movies, theater, games, etc. You as a collective hold imagination beyond your wildest dreams, and the energy of the realms is here to strengthen that even more. In believing in magic, you will open the energy of the realms of Gaia onto your physical plane. I asked, if we already hold the energy of the realms in our collective consciousness, then why does the energy of the realms need to open more? And what came through was, the energy of the realms are opening more because the floodgates are open. And in opening your collective consciousness with energy of the realms, we are able to wash away energy of doubt. The energy of doubt is very strong in your collective consciousness. At this time, there is a releasing of much of the lower vibrational energy in your collective consciousness. Many greater energies are working at this time to help in this releasing process, meaning the divine feminine, divine masculine, the realms of Gaia, Christ consciousness, etc. And right now they're showing me how, so they said many greater energies are working at this time to help in this releasing process. And this is because many, they're showing me the increase of the light workers and starseeds and healers and Everyone on the planet who's been able to raise their vibration has basically opened these doorways within themselves, thus opening a greater doorway into the collective consciousness. So now is the time for these greater energies such as the divine feminine, divine masculine, Christ consciousness, the realms of Gaia, to open up onto the planet, because more people will be able to open up those energies within themselves. And that's why they said that the floodgates are open, because they're saying, I guess we've reached past the critical mass, if that's what they call it, or past the amount of people who are able to raise their vibration to be able to affect the greater collective consciousness on this greater massive scale. So it's like now that those floodgates are open, these greater energies can come through and open through all of us and make that greater impact on the collective consciousness. What came through is that the role of flooding your collective consciousness with the energy of the realms of Gaia is to release doubt. Divine feminine is releasing guilt and shame. Divine masculine is releasing hate, war, and poverty. Christ consciousness is helping to release guilt, shame, doubt, and fear. To release and integrate energy takes a village, and in this village are energies of creation and energies of Gaia. The realms of Gaia are also opening into the physical so that the physical can raise vibration. The physical has been working to raise vibration, yes, with all of the light workers and starseeds and sanctuary souls and higher-hearted energy workers and healers. But this time is a boost of energy, if you will, to offer a major boost of energy into the next phase of Gaia's ascension journey. I asked, what is the next phase? And what came through was the next phase of the ascension is opening the collective into the energy of unconditional love. The beginning of this year opened the portal into this next phase, but the collective consciousness needs to acclimate into fully integrating this next phase of the ascension. It is happening on an individual level and a collective level. I asked, what can we expect from this next phase of the ascension? And what came through was, as an individual, you can expect strong core blockages being released and opening the heart more and more. The energy of being able to love without conditions or rules or fears will begin to weave within your ability to love and into your open heart. Once unconditional love is integrated into the heart, the blood that pumps from the heart will pump the energy and vibration of unconditional love throughout your entire body and throughout each of your other energetic centers or chakras. Opening each of the chakras into energetic expansion that will propel the physical body into a higher vibrational ascended body needed to integrate the higher vibration and dimension of New Earth. As the physical body is able to integrate more and more higher vibration, the energetic body is able to open and hold more and more higher vibration as well. Many of you have been working on raising your vibration and opening a higher vibrational body, but we have what some would call unfortunate news. There are still a few more layers or levels of higher vibration that needs to be integrated into the body energetically and vibrationally. You have been moving with the energy of the planet and raising vibration physically and energetically, but it is all part of the acclimation to higher 5D vibration. There are still a few more steps up, and in the next 5 years, you will notice more and more energetic and physical shifts happening within and without your body and energy. You will open up more and more to higher vibrational energy. So basically they were showing how it's like people have done already so much work to raise their vibration and acclimate to this new higher energy, ascension symptoms, but I still felt like there was still more work to do. So it's all part of the acclimation process. And to move from such lower vibrational energy into higher vibrational energy of 5D, it's like there's still a lot more work to do, I want to say, not to bring in any discouragement, but it's just that it's good to know that there is still more work to do, because when you think, oh, the process is all done and I'm already there, then you won't allow yourself to be open to integrating more and more. It's kind of like they're showing me how a lot of people are in this resting period, and so they're resting in order to kind of make their way up further into, they're showing me rock climbing. So they've been rock climbing up the mountain, and then now they're resting to gain the energy, to gain the power, the strength, in order to make that second level up and work on that second half of the mountain until they reach the top. What came through is, we know many of you have had a difficult time acclimating to the Ascension energies so far, but there is still more work to do. We do not want to discourage your journey, but we are preparing you for what's to come. Opening the higher vibration of the 5th dimension is not easy, and many of you will go through much more on your journey of integrating higher energy. But keep holding on and do not give up. And I think this has a lot to do with all of these strong energies opening through individuals into the collective consciousness, the divine feminine, divine masculine, energies of the realms of Gaia, Christ consciousness. It's like integrating all of that will level us up even more and prepare us to climb that next phase of the mountain, basically. What came through is that many of you may find yourselves thinking that you've had enough. And when that time comes, it will open up even more. Then you will find yourselves just about done with all of the changes. And then you'll find that there's still more to go. Then you'll find yourself in what some of you may call eyeballs deep in physical changes and grasping for air. And that is when you will find some relief. And eventually it will simmer and calm down, and your new physical and vibrational changes will settle within where you are. This year is very important energetically in powerfully setting you up for connecting you with your higher vibrational 5D body. There is a strong wave of escalator energy happening simultaneously with the strong releasing of energy. In the release, make space for higher vibrational energy to be integrated. So grab hold. In the churning of energy this year, plant your feet firmly in knowing who you are and where you are going. In strong faith comes strong energy of knowing that all is truly well. Each one of you is going to New Earth 5D, and in knowing that all is truly well makes for a much smoother transition. And then I asked, what can we expect from the energy of the realms opening onto the planet? I had asked what can we expect in general, but I wanted more specifics in terms of the realms and kind of further diving deeper into the realms. And at this point, what came through was that basically we're going to continue in the next video. So the information stopped at this point, and we'll see what comes through in the next video as I continue bringing forward information about the 4 realms of Gaia, opening up this energy of magic onto the planet, at the same time clearing and cleansing a lot of those lower vibrational energies in the collective consciousness. So a lot is happening energetically within the collective consciousness through us as individuals. So it's important to stay conscious in terms of what you're feeling on an individual scale in terms of your own vibration and energy, and keep in mind that everything that you're going through energetically and vibrationally is therefore also affecting the collective consciousness very strongly at this time. So just keep that in mind, and I think that this video was a strong reminder for us to keep that in our conscious awareness. But we'll see what happens in the next video and what comes through. And if you have any questions to this video, leave them below. Patreon members, I'll have you leave your questions and comments over on the Patreon page so I can address it there. And I'll see you in the next video. In oneness, we are Abe. Oneness and love be with you.